Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect what we discussed, I think everyone remembers, I think, because we have discussed the topic for so many weeks. Everyone knows that we were talking about Varna system. And I had told a story, so I told you all that I will tell you which discourse it is. There are at least two I found in Sathya Sai Speaks. The first one was in March 1965. The second time Swami repeated the story was on 11th May 1975. So where Swami basically is telling, according to your capacity, do your work. Because God has given you what you are doing, what you have been allotted according to your capacity and capability and what we need for our own growth. So we have to just do what we can within our capacity, and the rest the Lord will take care. So those are just thoughts which I thought I will start the session with. I will ask the sisters to read. Actually, we are going past the Varna system discussion today. Saira.
Really, from the Adhyadharmic spiritual point of view, these varnas can be characterized also in another way. Those who are established in the contemplation of Brahman are Brahmins. Those who oppose untruth are Kshatriyas. Those who systematically discriminate the true from the false are the Vaishyas. Those who are ever active and follow truth in everyday life are Sudras. The happiness of humanity can be amply realized only when Varnas function in this way. Now, we shall revert to the subject. Krishna addressed Arjuna. The four Varnas have been created by me on the basis of guna and karma. Though I am the doer, so far as they are concerned, I am still a non-doer. Pay attention to the fundamental principle, and then you will realize that karma, which is basically jada or consciousnessless and material, cannot affect the Atma, which is Chaitanya or suffused with consciousness. The Atma is inherently devoid of attachment. It has no awareness of agency or of its own needs or nature of its nature or of its possessions. It has no I or mine. For these are the marks of Arjuna, Anjana, Anyana. Is it? Arjuna, Anyana, yes. Only those afflicted with Anyana will suffer from the ego or sense of mind. Though it may appear to ordinary eyes that I am the doer, I am a non-doer.
Thank you very much, sister. So Swami is talking about whichever Varna we belong to or whatever we identify. I think truth is the only thing which matters. God is what matters. I think that's what Swami says in a summary. And then Swami goes on to say, let us revert to the subject on hand. And then Swami is telling us that the Atman, the introducing the concept of Atman in this world, and he says the Atman does not have any attachment because it does not identify with agency or needs or possessions, which is basically ahankara, mamakara, which Swami says, no I or mine. So those are some thoughts which Swami has described for us to read and understand. So I will stop here, and I will open it up for discussion. Saira. Sairam sister. Sairam sister Vijaya, please go ahead.
I just thought I'll set this up, start this ball rolling. So who's the doer? If she's saying the ego, the intellect, they're all the doers, the Atma is beyond everything, beyond the senses, devoid of attachment. I thought the intelligence was the doer. Or is it the ego? Saira.
So thank you, sister, for the question. So I think the sister's question is, Krishna is telling, I think we'll zero in on the sentence. Though I am the doer, so as far as they are concerned, I'm still a non-doer. So if God is the doer and then he's the non-doer, then how do you reconcile? I think that's sister's question. So I will open it for anyone to share any thoughts you have.
Sairam. Sairam.
Sairam, please go ahead.
Krishna is saying that I am not the doer, but the actions are all taking place. But what he is trying to tell us, even the actions are going on, don't attach yourself for the kartrutva. Kartrutva is the doership, and bhoktrutva, that is the enjoyership. Both, if you can avoid, you can detach yourself from the karma, and even though you are doing it. That's what Krishna is saying. I think here the most important words are the doership and the enjoyership. These two things, if we can detach ourselves from these two ideas when the action takes place, that is itself the realization that you are not the doer, you are not the enjoyer also. Sairam.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts?
Don't claim the ownership of any action. That's the final message, what he is trying to give us. Don't take the credit that I am doing it. I'm going to enjoy the fruit of my action. That's what I have understood. I think.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Brother Tasan.
Sairam, brother. The best example is the knife. When we cut in the vegetables, so that knife not supposed to think I am the doer. Same thing, whenever we do any work, we should not think I am the one doing. So God is the one doer, but we are the instrument of God. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, Sairam, brother. But Krishna said he's not the doer also. Who is cutting the vegetables?
So
if not the knife.
the Krishna saying he's doing the work, but he's not attached or desire. He doesn't take the fruit of the action, whatever Auntie said. So he's doing his duty, whatever right or wrong. So the same thing, when we do our work, we should not have any desire or attachment. When we think I am the doer, then we are falling to the desire and attachment. That bring you cycle of our life, our birth and the death. So God is the doer, but Krishna said many times, I don't cling to the action. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share anything?
Sairam,
Saira
this is
Auntie.
Saku Auntie. I'm going to try. God is divine. Our Atma is also divine. The God doesn't get attached to anything, nothing. The Atma also, it doesn't have attachment. It's only the body and the senses and the mind creates all these attachments, not the Atma. Therefore, the Atma, if it is having body consciousness, it will dwell in Ajnana. There won't be wisdom. So then it will think, I am doing it, this is mine, and like that. So God is a doer, but he is still not attached to anything. So he is not the doer. This is what I understood. Thank you, Saira.
Saira Auntie, Saira. Anyone else would like to share their thoughts?
Sairam Aruna.
Yes, Auntie.
It's a little confusing whether God is the doer or God is not the doer. What is actually the correct answer for that? Sairam.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. Anyone else would like to?
When Krishna says that he is not the doer, he is speaking from the point of view of the Atman. That is where we have to understand. He separates himself and he is talking from the statehood of that supreme consciousness, which is not doing anything. It is Jada. Karma is Jada, but he is not the one who is doing it. From the point of view of when we see, we always said that God did everything. I think these 2 points, I think we'll have to clear it. Sairam.
Saira Auntie. Auntie, can you read the Telugu section? Just I was trying to.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
Vishwamanaku Digudam.
Yeah, that is where Krishna Paramatma Digudam. Gunakarma Vibhagamanu Batti Nache Nalgu Varnamulu Sustimpabadnide. The 4 Varnas I have created. Vatiki Nene Kartanayundiyu, even though I am the doer, I am the person who created that. A Kartane Tattva Drishtito Chuchina Jadamaina Karma Chaitanya Atmanu Bandippajalan. The karma is itself, basically it is Jada, but it doesn't affect the Atma. That's what is it?
Doesn't bind, isn't it, Auntie?
Doesn't bind it. Yeah, doesn't bind it. Bandippajaladu. Atma Swayamuga Asangamu, unattached. Nenu Chayuchunnanana Abhimanamunu Gani, Ahankara Mamakaramulu Gani live. So for that Atma, there is no egoism or ahankara. That is
Identification with the body or the position.
Yeah. Andvalane ee jagat utpatti sthiti laya rupamagu karmamu nannu ematrumuga bandimpaledu. So even though he is the creator, sustainer and the dissolutionist, it doesn't affect him. Abhimana mamakaramulu agnanamula lakshanamulu. This self Abhimanam, ego sense is the one which binds an agnani. Attivanine karmalu bandinchuno. వ్యవహార దృష్టిని పట్టి నేను కర్మలు చేయవాని వలె లోకులకు తోచుచున్నను, వాస్తవానికి నేను అకర్తను. But the translational world, it looks as if I am doing all the work, but I am akarta. I am not doer. I am not the doer. That's it, I think.
Okay, thank you, Auntie. Thank you.
From there, it's a different paragraph.
Is this part in the Telugu? It has no awareness of agency or of its own needs or nature or of its possessions?
Yeah, it is there. That's what I read.
Okay.
Jadamaina karma. The karma is Jada. Atma is Chaitanya. The Chaitanya Atma. It cannot bind it. Even though the karma God is doing, it doesn't bind him. But
I think the possession, and that's what Palamunu, Palapekshavalana or something.
Palapekshavalana. Where is it in Palapekshavalana?
You know, she's asking Auntie, you know, the question, because it says,
which line it is?
Just before that, if it has no awareness of agency or its own needs or nature or of its possessions. That's what she's asking.
నేను చేయుచున్నాననే అభిమానమును కానీ అహంకార మమకారములు కానీ లేవు. I think that is.
Yes, that's what it is. Okay.
Yes, Kalyan.
Okay. So what does it mean, awareness of agency?
The feeling that I am doing it.
Doing, okay.
The Atman does not have the feeling that Atman is doing. It does not have the Ahankara or Mahamakara.
Okay.
Yes, Sister Vijaya, please go ahead.
Thank you for reading the Telugu version, Mani Aunty. And the questions, I concur with Auntie Saku. You know, it's a distinction. We are talking about karma and karma yoga. Karma yoga is a yogic spiritual offering when you are not the doer and you're just beyond, you've given everything to God, Atma, and you're doing an action because it's an inner prompting to do something. But the prompting has to come because that's but you're doing the action at the feet of the Lord. Isn't it what Krishna is telling Arjuna to do? Surrender to me, but take the action. So it's like a karma yoga, not karma, not the action, not doing things. So if you have karma yoga and the human is giving everything, it's the yogic principle. But still, who is doing the action? It always comes to, it's not you, it's the Atma in you. You're taking the action. You don't have any attachment to the outcome. You are, the doership, the enjoyership.
No.
No.
No,
Go ahead.
that's wrong.
Please explain.
I'll just come in here with an analogy that Swami had used earlier as well. I think we discussed this a long time ago, but I'll just bring it up where Swami has said how the Atman by itself is like a cinema screen.
Yeah.
And on that screen, we have the whole movie run. And while the movie is projected on that screen, we have earthquakes or volcanoes or fire or all kinds of emotions of people getting angry, sad, and so on. While the water flows on the screen, the water
Doesn't
is
wait.
projected on the screen, but it doesn't wet the screen. Likewise, the fire burns, but it doesn't burn the screen. And whatever emotions are displayed, all of that is projected on that screen, but nothing happens to the screen by itself. So the screen, whether we call it Krishna, Arjuna, or each one of us, is that Atmic self. And when that Atmic self decides to have a mind come on it, and that's where the whole problem starts. Where once the mind comes into existence, then whether it is the doer or non-doer, or the senses getting into action, all of that framework begins to happen. As long as the screen stays as the screen, then there is no problem. So if you are established in the Atmic self, then there is only one. There is no two. And if there is no two, where is the doer? Where is the action? Where is the receiver of that action? Everything is one. But when the screen has something come on it which starts projecting, then so many aspects start unfolding of what the perception of this universe is. So as long as the mind exists, the universe exists. And when we discussed earlier on that Amanaska and so many things, so when the mind, when we do not operate at the realm of the mind, or whatever we call it, at intellect, whatever we want to give that aspect to it, then it becomes two. But if we remain at the realm of the screen or the Atmic self, then whether you say that Krishna told Arjuna, go for battle, everything is already done, I have already killed those people, or whether he says, I do not do any action, there is no contradiction between those two things, because only if the coin exists, you have two sides to a coin. So likewise, only if there is something coming onto the screen or the mind, then everything exists. If we stay at the realm of the screen, then everything seems in perfect balance. It's just like another game that is unfolding. Just some thoughts based on what Swami had told as a reference earlier as the cinema screen. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, brother. Somewhat understood. Saira.
I think the question, I think, for everyone is, so should we stop doing anything? I think, and I think that's a challenge, because we are all used to doing, acting, performing something, and now Krishna is just confused, and Swami has repeated this and confused us. We are the doer, Atman is the doer, but Atman is saying, even though Atman is the doer, Atman is the non-doer also. So that means none of this is getting done. I think that's confusion. Yes, I think that everyone is worried that if we start thinking, we will not be doing anything. I think that's the challenge which Arjuna had to. So I will ask Brother Dasan raised his hand. Brother Dasan, please.
Yeah, according to the point, brother, so Atma is not attached to anything. It's a witness only. Even Sai Satish mentioned about that Mahabharata war. Lord Krishna said, I kill already everyone. So you are not the doer. So and he's asking to do your duty without any attachment or desire. So even Swami, one time, this kind of issue came, then he asked one of the devotees, then if you are a doer, can you raise your hand? And he couldn't do it. So that means, even in Tamil, avan arul illamal ondrum asayadu. So that means Swami is the doer, but we have to behave. We are Atma, we are the divine consciousness. So we have to behave like Atma, even though if we do anything, we are not supposed to attach anything, desire anything. So even though if you do anything, you should not have the feeling of you are doing. Or sometime I can explain that you are doing, but you should have that feeling that you are not doing. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Yes, Sister Vijaya, please.
You know, when Brother Sai Satish was speaking, I recall an event in my life. It was at a conference, a meditation conference, and I was well when I came, but I started bleeding. I had a ongoing, battle with cancer in my body. And I didn't know at that time was cancer. A few hours later, I'll know. But I was bleeding suddenly so bad throughout the night that if nobody had come or nothing had pushed me out or somebody to check on, I was in a room alone by myself. And at midnight, I just opened my eyes. And it was a very unreal kind, when you open your eyes, you know what it is. Oh, I'm bleeding so much. So my blood is lost. So, but I didn't feel anything. And all I remember was walking, almost felt like a zombie walking, and something prompted me inside, go pack your bag. You're not going to come back to the room. So I packed the bag, but I didn't know what to do, nothing. I wasn't even asking a question. And something propelled me to walk out. It's very dark. All the corridor was there. But at the foot of the door, there was a piece of paper where the organizer, the lady, at 12 midnight, she later told me, she wrote down her address and put it under my door and told me, which door she was in. It was quite some distance away. I have no idea how I walked there. Didn't even look at the instructions. And then I knocked on her door, and she's an Ayurvedic practitioner. So she saw my face. She was already there. Says, I knew you were going to come. And I didn't know anything. I'm not thinking anything. I'm not attached to an outcome. I'm just a body just walking. And she made me sit. There was a bench outside. And she took my pulse. And she said, she's an Ayurvedic practitioner. And she said, you don't have a pulse. And I looked at her, and it was nothing. I had no comments. I wasn't attached to anything, no thinking going on there. And she said, should I bring you to the hospital in my car, or do we call the ambulance? And I looked at her. I have no idea, what was happening. And I said, no, you have to call the ambulance. I'm not going to make it. So it was a very strange voice, she told me later. So we walk a few, and she's helping me. And right at the gate, at the opening entrance of the door, I collapsed. And she called the ambulance, and they take me to the hospital. They had to pump all the fluids. There was no pulse, no pressure, nothing. And I remember being at that time when they asked me to describe, what happened, and I said, I had no clue, and I thought, okay, my blood I lost was so severe. Of course, my brain was thinking of the medical possibilities and said, okay, I must be hyper, but it doesn't explain how I walked. And if I had stayed in the room, I would have bled out. So I can appreciate the screen, and I always think it's the screen, it's the Atmic, you're just given inspiration to walk out. I have not had that full experience again after that. Sairam, I hope this explains.
Thank you very much.
Sairam, I don't know.
Sairam.
Baba often has said, not even a blade of a grass will move without my will. Then he is accepting that he is the doer. But many times he himself, he doesn't do. He gets other people to do, and that becomes his non-doer. Like how now Vijaya sir experience, and many people we would have felt that God's presence is there, but we don't know. But some other human beings will be helping us because Baba is using them as the instrument. There he doesn't do as a doer directly. This is what I understand. God is a doer, and at the same time he's saying, I'm not the doer. So this is the only explanation I can think of. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, Auntie. So I think, so maybe I will just say a couple of points and then maybe we can go on if there is no other comments. The Swami has always equated the effect of Atman in the world with the example of the sun. If the sun is not there in the firmament, in the sky, nothing on earth will function. If the trees are growing, if we are alive and we are able to walk, everything is because of the energy which comes from the sun and the impact of the energy of the sun on earth. So many things go on in this world just because the sun is present there. Everything happens because of the sun. So in some way you can say sun is making this happen. The waters rise up as clouds and then they come down as rain. All that happens because of the sun. But the sun is not intending to do. He is just there. So Swami says the Atman is like that, and that is how it happens. But so the thing is, the sun is just himself, which is just spreading light. And the impact of that happens all over the world. So I think Swami wants us also to cultivate that attitude of not thinking that because of us this is happening. Because of this has happened, so we have ownership of that. Because that means then we are identifying ourselves with everything which happens around us, and that puts a bondage. Then we get attached. And though just because even when we are present, maybe many things will happen. But we should not think that it is happening because of us. Because we really don't know, because there are so many factors at play that we don't know what's going on. There's one excerpt from Mahabharata, which I thought is very nice, because Arjuna was fighting every day in the war, and there were people being killed by him, they were attacking him. But on one day when Drona heard that his son was killed, actually Bhima is supposed to have told initially that Ashwatthama is dead. But Drona didn't believe that. But the fact that his son was hurt made him went on a rampage. And he was killing everyone willy-nilly. And on that day, then he died. And then the sun came up and Ashwatthama was killing everyone. And on one day, Arjuna had to fight hard. And his chariot was going and he witnessed something. So after the day of the war, he came back and he saw Vedavyasa, and he asked Vedavyasa, today, while our chariot was moving, I saw ahead of us, about 15-20 meters away ahead of us, there was a being which was going ahead of us. And as the being was going, everything around him, which whenever he passed somebody, people were just falling dead. And our chariot was just going behind. What is this phenomenon? He asked apparently. So Vedavyasa is telling him, the person who went in front of you was Rudra. But Rudra did not have to do anything. Things just happen. That was a witness. You were able to witness that. Because all the sadhana you did, gave you the opportunity to witness that. How God just moves in front of you and things just happen. He did not have to shoot an arrow. You did not have to shoot an arrow. But this is what is going on every day. But today you have a witness. So in this world, we should not think things are happening because of us. If we feel like doing something, just do it. That's what Krishna is telling. Do the action. If you are there to do, just do it. Don't think that you are doing. Don't be attached to what the result should be, because the result is not in his hand, on your hand, and the fact that you are doing also is not in your hand. So this is the lesson. So we have to still do whatever we think we should do. Just thinking of the Lord, I think we should do. And I think that Swami is slowly opening that topic to, what is karma yoga, what is karma, how does action binds us. Because once we do something, then we get attached to it. We can't let go of that. And if somebody is trying to take it away, then we fight with them thinking, no, it belongs to me. We have done it. No one is acknowledging what we have done. All this trouble us. So Krishna is trying to relieve us from that problem with these thoughts. And of course, Sai Krishna is also doing it. So that's my understanding. So just the way the sun makes things happen in this world, but doesn't think that he is the doer. He is not the doer, actually. Things just happen. That is the miracle of creation. Sai Ram.
Thank you. Thank you, Arun.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
Thank you.
Merely in the presence of the sun, how things are all going on, and sun is not affected. So also, merely in the presence of the Atman, merely in the presence of that Supreme Godhead, everything is taking place. If we take take that in view, then that God is not the doer. Everything takes place. Everything goes on in his presence. I think that answers most of our questions, I hope. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. And I think Swami is going to explain further, so to make us understand, and so that we can use it in our daily life. I think that's the whole purpose of reading it, so that we will not be troubled by anything which goes on. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Yes, Sai Ram Aunty.
Sai Ram. I just want to just clear my mind. So God doesn't do anything, he's not the doer. Is that to say?
He is the doer and the not doer. He is the doer in the sense, because without his presence, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
In that sense, he is the doer.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do this or that. I think that's my understanding.
It happens.
It just happens.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Yes, Brother Dasan.
Okay, Sai Ram, brother. So I know you are a very busy person. So, and you take care of the Sai Center accounting work. So when I come and ask you, okay, brother, you are very busy, then you will say, this is Swami's work. I am doing Swami's work. So I don't feel tired or anything. Everything goes to him. He is the one doer. I am the instrument. Thank you, Sai Ram.
The Swami says he doesn't have any work, brother. Apparently, there was one Canadian group went. For a Canadian group, actually, about 2 decades ago, Swami gave an interview. Swami was asking everyone, how are they and all. And one person, Swami asked, what do you do in Canada? And that person said, Swami, I do your work. And Swami said, I don't have any work. This happened to one person from one center. So I know the person and I know the center. So Swami told that person, I don't have any work. So what are you doing? So there's no work. So, we can do anything we want to do and offer it to the Lord. Our activity can be offered to him, but he will say that is not mine anyway. It's Sai Ram. Okay, we will move on, I guess, if there are no questions. Sai Ram.
Not only this, karma does not cease to affect the doer as soon as it is finished. In fact, it is never finished. Karma yields fruits Fruits of karma breed desire for them that results in impulses for further karma. The impulses bring about further births. Thus, karma leads to the cycle of birth and deaths. It is a vicious whirlpool, making you revolve round and finally dragging you down into the depths. Arjuna, listen well to another point also. Karma as such has no capacity to bind. It is the conceit, I am the doer, that brings about the attachment and the bond. It is the desire to earn the fruit that produces the bondage. For example, 0 gets value only with the association of a digit. Karma is 0. Agency or the feeling of doer is the associated with the karma, then it breeds bonds. So Arjuna, give up this sense of I, and the karma that you do will never harm you. Karma done without any desire for the fruits of thereof will not produce impulses. That is to say, there will be no impulse for birth even. The aspirants of past ages performed karma with this high ideal in view. They never felt that they were the doers or enjoyers of the fruits of any act. The Lord did. The Lord gave the fruit. The Lord enjoyed the fruit. That was their conviction. This world has only a relative value. It has no absolute existence. That was their faith. Arjuna, you too should cultivate that faith and earn that conviction. Do so when your mind will become clarified and pure.
Thank you very much, sister. So Swami is sort of explaining to us more on why that is necessary, that we should remove the identification with ourselves, that sense of doership and wanting the fruits, so that we free ourselves from the bondage. In short, that's what I understand. So I will open it up for any comments. Participant can share your thoughts. Saira.
Sai Ramarano. Again,
Saira.
I am Saku Auntie. When you do an karma with the intention of attachment, then you reap fruits, and then that breeds desire, and then it goes to impulses and further karma, and then more births and more births. All this can be avoided if you don't get entangled into married life, right? If you get into married life, you go with, oh, my children, I have to take care of them. Those kind of impulses will come automatically. So is there any way we can help ourselves? Thank you, Saira.
Saira Auntie. So Auntie is saying that marriage is the cause of the problem, not karma.
No, karma too.
Sairam Saku. So
Yeah.
you have to ask this question from a bachelor.
Bachelor. I have to find some bachelor.
Actually, before marrying, actually everyone was either both were unmarried, single, but they didn't realize what it was, and then they got married. But we anyway born in a family, and even in a family, there are situations. Even when they are not married, there are issues because we coexist. As long as there's coexistence.
So both ways is.
Of course.
I think there may be a few who are not married in the study circle. Maybe they can share their thoughts. But Anyone else has something to say?
For Siam, brother, even the people not married, they have more desire and attachment. So only when you married, only you can say, I have wife and kids. The person don't get married, they do all kind of nasty thing too. They are attached to so many things. So the Swami is saying, when you do karma, there's a reaction, reflection, resound is there. So just don't don't take the fruit. Even if you married, do your duty. Even housewife, they do the duty. Even husband too, do the duty without attachment. Doesn't matter whether they're married or not. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother.
Sairam, I think I'm going to share my experience here, which I might have repeated, but when I'm saying this, I'm reminding myself as well. And based on the discussion last week, also we had what is right, what is wrong, and here also whether it's marriage life or karma. I'm still is, but I'm a very analytical person and always thinking whether my action is right, whether I'm doing the right thing or not doing the right thing, too much brain work, right? But at the same time, asking Swami and Brother Aruno, you can recall how many times I have mentioned this. Every time asking Bhagawan why my mind is always, whether it's right, wrong, good, bad. I mean, I just want to get over with it. It should be just going with the flow. I'm just doing it, not thinking and all of that. And in my dream, it came that I could see myself lying down and there is another person who is about to kill me. I could see that person is killing me. And in few seconds, I saw my body turn into Swami. That body turned into Swami and that person vanished. And I couldn't interpret what is the meaning. When I got up in the morning, I usually write whatever comes to my mind. And I felt that it's just my Bhagavan has just to teach me a lesson. I wrote, and it's not my mind, I'm literally writing. And what came out is when you have body consciousness, when you are using your mind too much, your body, that mind will kill you. That external person was how Swami want me to write is your mind will kill you. But when you have this Atmic consciousness, when you give away your body consciousness, that mind vanished away and there's nobody to kill you. So that's the interpretation. I'd still hold on to that dream whenever I'm thinking aloud. I don't need to think. I just need to do an offer to him. Why do I need to think good, right, wrong? It's just offer to him and then he is a doer. So that's how I interpreted that dream. My mind will kill me if I have a body consciousness. There won't be any killer if I develop that Atmic consciousness or divine consciousness.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you.
Sorry if I repeated a couple of times, but it's always a
No,
reminder.
it's okay.
I feel comfortable.
Thank you. Thank you.
From the first paragraph, what we can gather is how this birth and death cycle takes place. Swami is saying, one does a karma and the karma brings fruits. And further, we go on doing the desire increases to do the same karma or any other karma. Then it brings impulses and then it leaves behind impressions on our mind. And it leads to cycle of birth and death. Again, we are born, again we die. That's the first paragraph. Swami, what he's saying is, so karma as such has nothing to bind you. It's only the feeling that I am doing it and the attachment to the fruit. That is it, which is binding us. That's what I understand from this. Saira.
Thank you. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you.
So there won't be impulses or we won't be having any karma if we do karma without any expectation to fruit. Am I right? That's what the first sentence, Arjuna, listen well to another point also. Karma as such has no capacity to bind, only when we don't expect for fruit of our action. Am I right? That's what meant by that sentence?
Don't attach yourself that you are the doer.
Yeah.
Don't feel that you are the doer. That is.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So I think the question is, where do we break the cycle? You know, I think because this vicious cycle, where do we break? There are many ways I think we can break, and then Swami is giving us all the points where we can break. First, don't think that you are the doer.
Yeah.
Then don't look for the fruits.
Fruits.
If the fruits came and you ate it, don't get attached to it and want more of those fruits. Desires. So I think there are many points where we can break it. And the Swami is sort of, I think, giving us all those points. I am not the doer. I don't do things to seeking fruits. When the fruits came, don't desire for more of that.
You got the sense of I.
So, yes, Sister Vijaya.
That was a very good question you asked. Where do we break that cycle? And Sister Shivani, mentioned that it's what Swami has told us, the mind. So these vasanas are thoughts and impulses, and it's in the mind. So Swami has given us, japa, bhajans, meditation, nityasana, kirtanam, all the steps are there. And when we soak ourselves in the Atmic bliss, I know when I do the japa, 10 rounds of the Rudraksha Mala, it's a very different feel as when I first started it. So anything we do, if you're a bhajan singer, I'm not, but if you're a bhajan singer, I love bhajans, but that soaking in the Atmic bliss, and Swami knows every intention you have. And if we follow his path, he's given us a very, very clear path. You find less and less you're attached. Good, bad, right, wrong, enjoy the fruits. It's not something, when somebody says, don't think of a pink elephant. Don't think of a pink elephant. You'll think of a pink elephant. So it's those practices that need to be done with intention, and it's not a whole day kind of thing, but it's like when you do it, and the intention is, I want to soak in the Atmic bliss, Swami, and his grace will come when our intentions are very clear. Sai Ram, thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Yes, Sitaram, please.
Sai Ram, brother. I would like to add 2 points, going back to the topic of marriage again, though I'm not a bachelor, but I got reminded of how Swami used to tease boys. He used to ask boys, where is your wife? He used to, repeatedly ask some of the boys when they're, too naughty or anything. Swami used to ask them, where is your wife? So after some time, then Swami would reveal that is your mind I'm referring to. I know you're not married. I think even Sundareshan sir has mentioned this in the last Samarpan session that we had. And that is one thing that I remembered. So a bachelor need not be unmarried per se. If you are speaking about the marriage, for Swami, the marriage is, where is the mind? To whom is the mind attached or associated with? That is the marriage that Swami is talking about. And the second point that I thought is the solution that Swami always gives is, I think in many interviews, as well as in many of his discourses, Swami has told MBA is the solution for this mind, which is mind on Baba always. MBA stands for mind on Baba always. So by having mind on Baba always, we neither do the karma nor we expect whatever is coming out of that karma, because our mind is the one which is expecting all this. Manomulam idam jagat, or Manayeva Manishyanam Karanam Bandha Mokshayo. So it is the fruit, it is whichever side you turn it, it gives you the specific result, right? So in that way, Swami has told, have mind on me, so that you neither have the attachment nor the other side of it. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Sai Ram, in other words, we have to get rid of mamakaram, my children, my husband, my wife, All this my, you have to give up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So if there is no other comments, maybe we'll read the next slide, if it's okay.
Sorry, just one other question. Where Swami's saying that they never felt that they were the doers or enjoyers of the fruit of any act. The Lord did, the Lord gave the fruit, and the Lord enjoyed the fruit. That was their conviction. So, so I see this as a helpful way, for me to not think that I'm the doer, to think of everything as the Lord. But we just said that the Lord is a non-doer. So, I mean, this is ultimately a lie, is it right? It's a falsity.
The Lord did, I think, when the aspirants thought, I think they attributed what was happening to the Lord, though they knew that Lord doesn't have to do it even. Because of the Lord, it happened, I think, So it's, I think, the sun analogy. The plant is growing because of the sun.
Okay.
That kind of attitude, I think they had. I think which is not wrong. It is because of the sun the plant is growing, but the sun is not growing the plant. So to that extent, I think that's because of the Lord things are happening. So because of that, it's like in a large organization, if something happens, if you're a minister of, I don't know, railways, this happens in India, minister of railways will be there, and suddenly there'll be a huge one accident and lots of people die. Then the minister will resign from his job. He will take responsibility, but it's not the minister was not the one who was driving the train. But it is because of the ministry that these trains are running. So I think from that sense, I think they felt he's the person who instigates certain actions, and because of him, actions takes place. So we have to attribute it to him. And of course, God will say, "Okay, I will take the blame." But I think that is the way. I think that's the way because they know that God cannot come and do every small thing which happens in the world physically. It is not happening, but just by his presence, things are happening. So he is the doer. I think that's the way they looked at it. Is what I understand.
Brother, then he's the doer. Something you have to feel it too, right? So that is within you too, right? The Atma. That has to connect and feel that God is happy.
That's
Saya.
Yeah, so that's another way of seeing. So the Atman is the one which makes it happen. The Atman is happy. Atman is enjoying. That kind of feeling people can do. I think that's what Sister Aruna is telling. Within us also, there's some Atman which makes us function. So I think, it's just not a lie. There's something which makes things go on. To that extent, it has agency. But it does not identify with that agency.
So being a non-doer means just that you don't identify with your action. So you could still be doing action, but if you don't identify with it, then you're a non-doer.
We can't just shirk the responsibility, and say I'm not the doer. I think it is a state of mind where you become an instrument rather than the doer. Like if there are people having that experience, you're doing. I think many doctors have said when they do the surgery, they feel something has taken over them and doing the surgery, and they are just seeing the surgery happen. This many doctors in the super specialty have said when there are difficult surgeries and they are in a situation, they themselves panic. But if they panic, the patient is going to die. So they pray, and then something happens. Just the way Sister Vijaya was telling. Things it just happened. She was walking and she doesn't know why she was walking. So things just happen, and then you are a witness of a phenomenon just taking place. I think that's the state of mind with which I think most of the aspirants functioned. Being conscious of it, being aware that there's a bigger force which is operating through them. And they were just lost in that thought. I think that's what I understand. That may be just my imagination, but that's my understanding. Others can share their thoughts. Yes, Sister Vijaya.
Sairam, thank you. Thank you for that that comment, Sister Kalyani. And Brother Aruna, the description, I was thinking you cannot put enjoyment. It's not the same. Because I remember that time when I was walking and I couldn't even read anything and I didn't care. I knew when I was walking, the right door will come, and I didn't think of anything. I just walked. And we all have that experience of what we call being in the flow throughout the day, when the mind enjoys something and, reading a book or attending this class, but this class is not because we're all exercising. But sometimes when you watch a movie and somebody asks you, what was the movie? I say, I don't know. So enjoying it, and I completely forgot myself, right? Going to the bathroom or eating or anything. And yes, I wanted to, for example, I wanted to be a trauma surgeon, and Swami had another idea, but I worked for several months in a trauma unit. And exactly as you said, I give everything to Swami, and then once you enter the ER, something takes over you and you're just in the flow. And we all do that, whether we realize it or not. But now we realize the mind is quiet and you're just with the flow. And I will make a distinction. It wasn't, and thank you for bringing this up. It wasn't that it was a low blood, blood loss can make you feel, dizzy and all that. I didn't have anything of that. The mind was clear, but there was no thoughts, nothing going on in there, empty screen, like Brother Sai Satish said, it was just a screen, and you just walk and you do things and didn't even know what you're doing. And, as that happens, you just, and later on you think about it and you say, what got me up? Why should I get up even? So it's a very interesting phenomenon. When the Atma takes over, we cannot put the definition of, a human enjoyment and a human, like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And for that, the spiritual discipline is needed. Spiritual sadhana is needed. That's the only way I can think about it, unless you have, grace of God, which is, sometimes it can happen that way. Sairam, thank you.
Thank you, sister. Yes, Brother Dasan.
Okay, Sairam brother, I'm not taking much time. So that if we do any karma, there's a fruit is there. Definitely there's a fruit, good or bad. But when you take the fruits, then you will be getting to the impulses, desire, attachment, and cycle of birth. But if we don't take the fruits, just surrender to the God. God is the one enjoyer of the fruits. So for an example, if I cut the grass or if I clean the Sai Center anywhere, then you just think, wow, very nice. And Swami is going to enjoy that one. I'm not taking then I'm not getting to these impulses and desire and attachment, ego and everything. This is my understanding. That's a big meaning in the enjoyers of the fruits and doers. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, thank you.
Sairam, we always say that we shouldn't expect any fruit for the actions we do. But here I am little confused about the Lord enjoy the fruit. And also I understand that the agency relationship, whenever we say the Lord enjoy the fruit, that means that the Lord within me enjoy, that means that I enjoy the fruit. So if I want to enjoy the fruit, then I have to get the fruit to enjoy. So this goes backward that this goes backward and tempting me to want to have the fruit all the times. That's why I am thinking that the agency relationship and the Lord enjoy the fruit. How I would connect correctly, or maybe according to my understanding, it puts me backward. How do I get into a straightforward way? The agency and the enjoyment of the fruit. Maybe that three words: the Lord did, the Lord gave the fruit, and the Lord enjoyed the fruit. That statement is not true, or maybe is there any maybe intended meaning would be different from the maybe the textual meaning?
Very, very nice question, sister. See, it's so unfair that we do all the work and God enjoys the fruit.
Exactly.
So the thing is that, it's a joke, see, they say in heaven there is plenty of food. Okay, you have all the enjoyments in heaven. The problem is, when we die and when we go to heaven, we don't have the body, we don't have the mouth to eat. So the thing is, for Atman does not enjoy the jada. See, the human nature is such that we think we are enjoying the sensory pleasures, and that is enjoyment. The Atman does not enjoy the sensory pleasures. It is in a completely different plane. So when we say God enjoy the fruit, it is not that he enjoyed the sensory pleasure fruit, which is of the created world. Because Atman is, in the previous, I think, slide, Krishna has already said, or Swami has said that Atman is not jada. Everything in this world is jada, insentient. But Atman has nothing to do with it. So, what does then God enjoy? I think that's the next question, to ask. Because God is not looking for certain material fruits, from what I understand. He enjoys the fruit because his enjoyment does not depend on the fruit. He is always Ananda, in a state of Ananda. Okay, so he is, it's just, he doesn't need anything else to make him more happy. So I think that when we say enjoy the fruit, the bhoktrutva, I think that's the question. Krishna is telling, don't go after that. If at all you think somebody has to enjoy, then think that God is enjoying. I think that's why Kalyani was telling, isn't it a lie? The God is the doer. God is got the fruit, and God enjoyed. It's a lie if we understand that the enjoyment is related to the created world. It is not a lie if we understand that the Atman does not have anything to do with the world. Those are my thoughts, sister. I don't know whether it's again no, it doesn't mean anything. But I will ask others to share their thoughts, Sarah.
Sairam. No, I'll just add another thing. So we make this Naivedyam for Swami, whether it is some Chakra Pongal or some Vada, or whatever we want to offer to Swami, we offer that Naivedyam. And after the Naivedyam, we take the prasadam. Everybody knows who finally eats the Chakra Pongal, Vada and everything. We only eat it. But then, what is it that we have offered to Swami? So, the feeling or the complete sense of devotion, that purity, that thing of making for Swami, that bhava is what we have offered to Swami. So Swami says, I am bhava priya and not bahya priya. I go for me, the feelings are dear and not the show of the thing. So that concept of offering the Naivedyam to Swami and then taking it as prasadam, that gives the thing as who is the enjoyer. So in this context, if we keep the Chakra Pongal, of course, there have been instances where there have been some hand marks or finger marks of Swami having tasted the prasadam in somebody's house. That's a different miracle. I'm not talking about that. But in general, in every house, when we offer that Naivedyam to Bhagawan, at the end, we take it that, yes, he has accepted it in totality, and we just take it as prasadam. So in the material sense, nothing has changed. The same Chakra Pongal remains in its form and thing. But the feeling behind it, the subtle aspect behind it, is what the Lord looks at. It is not the physical, but beyond the physical, whether we call it metaphysical or feelings or whatever thing. So in that action that we do anything, if we are able to establish at the level that Swami, this is an offering. So Swami always says, bow down to the action, tasmai namaha karmane. So I'm offering it at your lotus feet and stay at that realm of doing it as Naivedyam to Bhagawan, anything that is done as an offering, and then accept the thing as prasadam. So when it comes back also, it comes with that Lord's grace, and that will take care that the seed no longer germinates. So every time the tree gives the seed gives the tree, and again it keeps going on. And that is so long as the seed is taken and put in the soil and the seed can sprout. If the seed can stop sprouting, and if it can, we use whatever we say, whether it is Jnana Marga or however, offering to Swami, not having the sense of doership, then that chain can be broken. So it's always about that Naivedyam and Prasadam kind of a scenario. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Thank you.
Sairam, how to differentiate bhava from the show off? Brother Sai Satish just mentioned that maybe it should be a bhava, not the show off. So I believe there's a fine line, or maybe some things it could be slightly overlapped too. How to differentiate the bhava from the show off? Is there any tips to have that?
Thank you, Sister Ananthi. A very, very practical and profound question you have asked. And that's all I can say. I will open it up for the participants to share your thought. How do we know that the bhava is there and it's not a show? How do we determine for each of ourselves? Let's not worry about others doing. How do we know for ourselves that we have somehow cultivated the bhava and we are not doing that for a show? And I think let's all, any comments, if we can just focus on ourselves, I think that'll be good. Sairam. Yes, Sister Vijaya, please go ahead.
To Sairam, thank you for that brilliant question, Sister Ananthi. Yesterday's, when we did the Sai Awareness course, the thing that Swami looks for, that spark of compassion and love within us. So when I focus on that, when that love is not there, and there are all the dualities of my mind, that is what I call the emotional charge, I know I'm not there. I have to go and do my sadhanas. I have to be clear of that charge. But when I am clear inside and I'm filled with compassion and love, and I want to do something, and I have the bhava, that, that action, or, helping a homeless or helping my patient or somebody, it comes from there, not from what can I get back in return, what's in there for me. It's when Swami fills you with that atmic bliss and love, it's his grace. You have to do your work. You have to continue. And if you suspect that there is a motive in there, there is intention that is not based on compassion for the action, it's a it's a call that I have to do on myself. I say, Swami, it's not there. And go back to the books, do the sites, the sadhana. Sairam, thank you.
Thank you, sister. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts?
Good question. It's when it's, just sharing, your mind can keep telling you it's a bhava. It's I felt. This is my experience. It's such a smart tool Bhagavan has given us. Keep telling you, oh, you are so much bhavam, you are doing everything right. I feel that you have to really go deep down and ask yourself, the action I'm doing, is it really bhava or is a show off? And I'll give you an example. I think I don't know why I'm after my husband's life, but we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. He got something and I said, okay, what is that? What is your intention? Is a show off or it's just, he said, no, your Swami has given me this, he has given me this life. So I'm buying these things. It's all his grace. I said, okay. And let's kind of question each other. Believe me, 1 hour conversation, it came down, it's a show off. Because the pleasure eventually it will give you, I worked hard, I give this, so I earn it. So cutting the story short, it's such a good and a deep question. Is it really bhava? And who's telling is a bhava? My mind is telling me it's a bhava. So we have to really dig very deeper. The action I'm doing it for others, for anything else. Is it coming out of compassion? Am I in it? Am I in there? It's something for me. If it's nothing for me, then that's my interpretation. That's bhavam. Then I'm not in that at all. That is bhavam. Otherwise, it's show off. Sorry.
Thank you, sister. Yes, Brother Tasan.
Yes, Sairam, brother. If we do any actions, we have to do with the bhava. The reason is, even if you offer the naivedya to the Lord, the purpose of the naivedya is thanking for the food and thanking for the food and purify the food. So even Lord Krishna said, whoever offered me with the love, even leaves, even water, I will accept that one. So anything before consuming, it could be any object, you have to offer to the God. Then that will give you the discrimination, what is right and wrong. Eventually, you'll get the vairagya and viveka. So that will calm down your mind, and eventually it will motivate you to understand the type of fruits we are not supposed to, and you do it with the love, then you are not going to expect the fruits. This is my understanding, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Any other thoughts on this? So maybe just I will share some thoughts, I think Sister Anand's question is a very good one. I try to ask myself always. The thing is, it's a challenge, so we sometimes we are reminded of, offering to the Lord, and sometimes we forget. That's the reality as we learn to come to that state. And if anyone has come to the state of continuously doing the same thing, I think they have achieved it. I think the only way we can evaluate whether something is a show or a bhava can only be determined when there's no one else and what are we doing. In the confines of, of our home, where absolutely no one is looking at, what is our behavior? Are we always in a constant state of offering to the Lord? Because if we suddenly one day we will say, oh, we are all enthusiastic and we want to offer, then we forget, half the time, then that means that bhava is not really inbuilt in us. So I think we have to ask ourselves in private, when there's no one there, what are our thoughts when we do things? Are we still offering to the Lord? Every single thing. I think that's something. And if we have the sense of offering at all times, in all activities, I think we would have cultivated that. Until then, we are work in progress, is what we have to tell ourselves. I think all of us have to great extent, we have tried and we try and sometimes we forget. I think that's our sadhana. I think but the day when all the activities, everything is offered to the Lord. And until that time, our bhava is not fully, completely there, is what I understand. And sometimes, as Sai Satish was telling, we may offer, and if Swami eats it, we'll be so disappointed that we didn't get to eat the prasadam. Okay. So I will, yes, Sister Shivani, please go ahead.
Just a disclaimer, I'm not talking behind my husband's back because he can hear me. Sorry, just making sure. I'm following 9-point code of conduct.
Okay. Sister, you're feeling guilty, mean there's something.
No. I just want to make sure, because I think the group here, she talks about her husband, but he's in the presence, he's around. So I'm not talking behind him.
Okay. Yes, Sai Satish.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, even otherwise, of course, like you mentioned, that is for the differentiation between bhava and bahya. But in terms of the effort, it is like they say, pretend, tend, and end. So in the initial thing, we keep pretending that though it is bahya, Swami, I'm doing it for you. Swami, I'm doing it for you. And then that it's like a dot at a time point. Then we tend towards it. We have more of those dots coming in. We start doing it more frequently. Then we end up in that state where the dots become so continuous that it becomes a line, where it's a continuum. We are every time able to do that, because Swami would say, keep practicing, keep practicing. He would say walking practice, eating practice, writing practice. All that came out of practice. What we do today as natural walking, sitting, or anything, we had to do months and years to perfect that. So if that needed that practice, this also will need that kind of continuous practice and effort. And if as long as that stays in place, then I think with Swami's blessings, one day we will end in that state of always doing it with that bhava feeling. Sairam.
Sairam.
Sairam. So when we are offering every act to God, it's okay if the act is imperfect or flawed, or we could still offer it to God.
I think we can only offer what we are capable of. I think that's the way I understand. And I think the fact that we are trying to offer to the Lord makes us do things a little better than we would have normally done. That the thought itself actually propels us to more and more perfection, is what I think. And even if we are unable to, God will make us get to that point, is my understanding. Very good question, Kalyani. I will ask others to share their thoughts as well. Saira, anyone?
Anna, I'll just add to this. So sister, like what Swami has told in one of the discourses is, what will you give to a person who has his birthday as his gift? So the thing is, something that the person does not have, we would like to give it as their birthday gift. Then Swami said, what is it that God does not have? God does not have impurity in him. He is completely pristine, pure, selfless. So to that purity, if there are any blemishes that we have, offer it. So it means that is the extent of Swami's love and compassion. Like we always say, we offer the best to Swami. We have to give our best. But here the Lord was telling that offer that impurity, I will accept it, because it is coming with that sense of that feeling of that bhava, that though Swami, this is that yatha shakti, this is what I can do, Swami. This is to my effort that I can do. It may not be perfect, but I'm offering it to you. And that also the Lord will accept with all the love that he has for us. So that shortfall is taken care of by the bhava aspect, because that will take care of the rest. But yes, Swami has told that the impurity also can be given to him, because the moment the coal comes in touch with the fire, it becomes that amber that shines free. So immediately that becomes pure. In the presence of pure, there is nothing of impurity that is left.
Sairam, Sai Satish. Very nice, very nice. Yes, Sister Shivani.
Just to add to Brother your statement and Brother Sai Satish, which is, give your best and give little better than what you could have given before. And what I have learned also, that whatever act we do or whatever we do, don't feel guilty. Be confident what you're doing. And that's what the purity is all about. You're confident about that, your full consciousness, with full awareness, with your good mind, you're giving this to or doing. So I have learned the guilt and the feeling guilty is not very divine thought. So never feel guilty. Oh, I should have done. You did it with full consciousness, offer to him, and then move on. Whether good, bad, it turned out to be right and wrong. And I am practicing, and I'm kids, because youngsters, they think the stress and all of that. Move on. Don't live with guilt. Whatever you did, because you did with your pure. If you did with your pure consciousness and heart. So yeah.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Brother, when you're offering anything, you have to offer with a good intention. It is Lord, right? Because as we all know, God doesn't need anything from us. So we are offering for our own sake, for giving that we feel better, and we were thinking something to earn the Lord days for, like giving something feel good within us. So where the impurity is going to come when we are thinking in a good intention offering. So where I know without our knowledge, impurity would be there, because we don't know everything. Sometimes we are offering with a good intention. So where the impurity we have to offer, where when you, that part I'm just wanted to understand more on this. Thank you, Sai.
Sairam, sister. I will ask anyone else to comment on that question.
So, Sairam, brother.
Yes.
That most of the people are going to Tirupati. What is they offering? The hair. If the God wants the hair, Swami told, you have to offer Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Madam, Maksarya, whatever the 6 enemies on you. If you offer to that one, I will help you. So it's sometimes when we do anything, when you walking time, we may kill so many insects. That is without our knowing things. So those one, we can offer to the God, whatever we did it unknowingly or knowingly. Then next time you won't do that one. Thank you, Saira.
Saira. Anyone else would like to share?
Just to say in a quick few words that I think that's a journey we are all in, that reach to the level where there's no impurity of offering. So until we reach that level, there might be a little bit 0.001% where mind is really coming in that offering. So can we reach to the level where there's no impurity, and the Lord and I, we are just one. So that's how I interpret it. So yeah.
Sairam.
Sairam.
Yes, Auntie.
Baba has said it in the Dhyana Vahini, in the Dharma Vahini, in this Geetha Vahini, to all the 6 enemies, one by one, evil qualities, give it to me, I will accept it. So there's nothing wrong in it, because we have to cleanse ourselves if we want to go to Swami. Impurity, with impurity, you cannot merge with God. You have to become pure, simply pure. Who will take it? Only Baba can take it from us. So there's nothing wrong in us offering impurities to Swami. He will accept it. Mother Sai. Sairam.
Sairam. Sairam Auntie, thank you. It's 4:30. I think, the time sort of flew today. I didn't feel the time go. So we'll have to close. I'll just make a comment to what Sister Aruna said, and maybe we'll close. The reality, sister, when we offering to God, we have to come to a point where we offer every single thought, every single word, every single act. Until we fully live in His thought all the time, there will be negative thoughts. There will be some negative words. There could be some negative activities. And whether we offer it or not, we are actually offering to the Lord. Because the God has to accept, is forced to accept that also. So I think that's where impurity comes. Because we say only we are offering this, but other things we are not offering. We cannot do that with God. It has to be all or nothing. So our life itself, until it becomes completely pure, I think there will be some impurity creeping in without our knowledge in even things which we offer, I think. That's my understanding. So I think others have also touched on that very nicely. So it was a very wonderful discussion today. I think I hope everyone enjoyed it. We will again meet next week to further read and understand what Swami wants us to do. So if there's nothing else from anyone, we can close with Samasta Loka today, and we'll meet again next week.
Sairam.
Sairam. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you so much, Sairam.
Sairam.
Sairam. One announcement, please. Sairam, the coming Saturday we have a Iswaramba Day retreat starting at 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. It's at Sri Sathya Sai Centres. Kindly everyone join. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam.